A 20-year-old has been arrested for a massive cyber attack targeted at journalists, celebrities, hundreds of politicians and German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Personal data from their emails were hacked into and shared on the internet. It's been described as the biggest hack in German history, all by a 20-year-old. So how did this happen and which lessons can be learned from there? Let's begin this year's crossover to Germany, getting more on this. Political correspondent with our partners DW is Thomas Sparrow, and he has all the answers to the questions that we have. Thomas, it's good to have you once again, and Happy New Year to you. Now, one would have thought that nations, no less nation like Germany, are more aware of cyber risks and have beefed up cyber security. How did this happen?
Gifty, first, a Happy New Year to you and to your team as well from all of us here in Berlin. It's nice to be back with you as every Wednesday. And obviously we're starting this year with this very big news in Germany that has been described, as you said, as one of the biggest data leaks in German history, and all by a 20-year-old, that's according to authorities, who had a comprehensive confession, who explained as well, according to authorities, that he did not have any specific training in computer science, that he had taught himself all the necessary skills. And we're talking here of a lot of information, a lot of politicians involved, around 1,000 people all in all, ranging from the German Chancellor Angela Merkel to other prominent politicians and prominent journalists as well. So the fact that these people were affected has been described as remarkable. However, when we look at the information that was leaked, we're talking mostly about private information, about credit card details, telephone numbers, letters that were leaked, all that type of information, private conversations. So authorities have said that this does not represent a new security situation, although it's obviously still the case that they are looking at what exactly was leaked. But from what the information that has been revealed so far, what we can tell from that information is that it was mostly personal information that was compromised. This is still important, and particularly important in a country like Germany that, because of its history, is very sensitive about privacy. And there are strict privacy laws here in Germany. Obviously now, as a result of this, there have been calls for German authorities to strengthen laws in the country and to take measures so that this cannot happen again. This cannot be repeated again, in particular not by someone like a 20-year-old with, well, that was what was said, with no specific training in computer science. Interesting.
We know that this 20-year-old we're talking about has been arrested. Do we know what he has been telling the police about this hack, and what more has been done about with this particular investigation?
Well, he said, according to the police statement that we reviewed, that he had acted alone, that he had acted because he had been annoyed at statements made by politicians. Apparently politicians from all major parties in Germany were targeted except the far-right Alternative for Germany. It is still unclear why the far-right Alternative for Germany was not targeted, and authorities are still trying to find out what type of political inclination the 20-year-old may have had. That is still unclear, at least it hasn't been revealed very clearly. What else did the person say? Again, he mentioned that he had had a comprehensive confession, that he had helped authorities, that he had provided information to authorities. But this is only one side of the story. The other side of the story is what German authorities are going to be doing now as a result of that, because this has revealed, at least what many people have said, that obviously Germany's digital infrastructure is maybe not as good as they had thought if a 20-year-old is capable of leaking so sensitive private information.
And we'll be here for that particular update. But for presumably less cybersecurity conscious countries, and I dare say Ghana is one of those, what kind of lessons are there to be learned from this very terrible German experience?
Politicians, first and foremost, have to be aware of what type of laws are in the country and whether those laws need to be strengthened. This is something, again, that German politicians have mentioned they're going to review whether Germany's laws have to be strengthened in any way or another. But there's another aspect that has been stressed by authorities, namely that users, and by users we mean politicians, but also other users, have to be very careful when it comes to sharing information on social media platforms. They have to be very careful when choosing passwords, when sharing sensitive information. We've just seen here in the German case how easy it was for someone, or apparently easy it was for someone, a 20-year-old, to leak all that information. So authorities have been very careful in trying to present to the public the need for them, and that includes, again, politicians, to be very careful of what information they share and how they deal with their information on social media platforms as well.
Protecting information, that's what this is all about, it looks like, especially when we're in the information age. But Thomas, thank you very much. Now, this is still an ongoing investigation, and so certainly we'll be getting more in our crossovers as we go along in the year. Thank you very much. Thomas Sparrow is political correspondent with our partners at the GW, joining us with that information all the way from Berlin, here on The Pulse with me, Gifty, and up here.